Hi everyone, I'm back. Sorry about my voice, I've got a really bad attack of autoimmune at the moment. But Bolivia unrest, police use tear gas against mourners of the people that have been murdered by this coup regime that's taken over Bolivia, purely for the simple reason to deny the people's rights to benefit from their resources. Now, if you look at a country like Norway, and I'll leave a few links about Norway under here. Norway is a nation that is the equivalent of £1 trillion in credit. Not in debt, in credit. Britain is £1 trillion in debt. Norway has managed to look after its population. There's a very minor gap. The gap between rich and poor in Norway is minimal. Everybody lives a nice life. Everybody's rich, actually, compared when you look at America, Britain, countries like Bolivia. And Norway is in that situation because the government has taken control. The government owns, I think, 50% of all independent businesses. The government uses its money to invest in the future. People live in nice houses. They have a really good education system. They have a really top-rate healthcare system. A very good system of welfare. Norway is a living example of what a democratic socio-capitalist society is all about. And it's time that the world looked at Norway as a role model. It's the model that Britain attempted to establish here, but unfortunately, constantly under heavy oppression from the so-called right. They call themselves the right, they're actually wrong. You know, who have specifically and traditionally attacked the labour movement, the social. Apparently there's no room for social in Britain, for socialism. The minute anybody mentions anything along the lines of what Norway's doing, you're communist. But Norway is not a communist nation. There's absolutely no way that you could even slightly compare Norway to, say, Soviet Russia or communist China or North Korea. In fact, Norway won't even have any dealings whatsoever with North Korea. And basically what's happened in Norway could happen in Bolivia. They have the resources to be able to build up an economy, a social fund, what is called the Sovereign Wealth Fund in Norway. Britain should have had a Sovereign Wealth Fund because Britain's had exactly the same as Norway in terms of oil and gas that has built Norway's economy, because it's been in the hands of sound management, because their government, their socialist Labour government, has never had the kind of opposition that the British socialist government, originally headed by Clement Attlee, we've had this right from the word get off. The Tories have been there, and they've always been a voice of power within Parliament, and have always used whichever way they can to find their way into power. And every time they come into power, we witness what happens. It's take off the public. And now the same thing is going to be happening to Bolivia. It's all the fuss in Venezuela. The far right don't want Venezuelan people to benefit from Venezuelan resources. They like the status quo of 70-80% impoverished people and a minority of very, very wealthy people. They enjoy that status quo, the people on the upside of it, and they have enough money to buy publicity, to buy even people to protest for them, you see. And the same's happening in Britain. Since Thatcher came, she took it just at the point that Britain had found its oil wealth and gas, you know, instead of that going to the benefit of the country, it was immediately sold off, and the British public paying extortionate prices for gas, for oil, but at the same time, the revenue from those are going where? Into private businesses, serving mainly foreign interests, and all the funds from it going into offshore tax havens. And Britain, meanwhile, you know, while Norway's £1 trillion in credit, Britain is £1 trillion in debt, you see. So how does that work? How does it work that a nation has lucrative national resources and it is undergoing years of austerity, 9 years of austerity as an economic policy that's murdered 130,000 people? You see, it's when it's getting to that level of austerity, then what choice do people have except you might as well just go on the streets. You might as well get risk of tear gas or even being shot, because what you're going to do, sit around and wait till you die of depression or starve to death, or because you've got no health care. You know, because what we're dealing with is a level of consciousness that is very powerful and wealthy in this world, precisely because they have no compassion, and precisely because the law is corrupt. The law itself is corrupt, because people can buy their way out of accountability. They are not being held to account. That people think that they have a right to become a billionaire and claim it's from their hard work. Well, you know, my grandmother worked damn hard all her life. She wasn't even a millionaire. She didn't, you know, she didn't even have more than, she couldn't even have £100,000 in the bank when she died. You know, I think she had a few thousand and left a little terraced house that was worth about, what, 40, 50,000. That's after a lifetime of hard work, a lifetime of being an army nurse as well. She raised 5 children as a war widow. And really, she died in poverty. So this nonsense has to end, because I have a message for you rich people of this world. You are evil, and there's no two ways about it. If you're a billionaire and you're not actually supporting the people, you're not actually supporting democratic socio-capitalism, you are evil. You're an evil person. Because you've got no compassion, you've got no conscience, and you are contributing to the destruction of our planet. And yet you people have the audacity to look at these and say, well, there's too many of them. There aren't too many of them. What there is too many people in positions of wealth and power who feel they have a right to judge these people as excess. The excessive, judging the impoverished as an excess. We should be living brilliant lives in every country right now. The levels of technology that we've got, people shouldn't have to be working a 5-day, 40-hour week. That should not be happening. The technology is supposed to be serving us. Why isn't it? Why isn't it serving us? Why is it that people are actually further enslaved by it and still living according to gruelling timetables and while under conditions of poverty? Why is it that these corporations think that they can refuse to contribute to social needs like housing, education, healthcare? But at the same time, they require another generation of slaves to work for them, to earn profits for them, to consume their goods. And who is providing that generation? The workforce, the impoverished workforce. And then they're complaining about the level of humanity that is being produced from this poverty. Well, you know, as the saying goes, you can't make a silk purse from a sow's ear. Give the people some silk. And silk is reasonable intelligence. Now, I know that people look at me and think, yeah, I'm some kind of mad woman. I don't care, right? I really don't care what people think about me. But I know what I think about this world, and what I know about this world, and what I know about this universe, and what I know about reality, and what I know about intelligence, and universal intelligence is a reality, and you are all going to face it, either in your physical body or when you step out of it. But I do feel sorry for those that do not, in that sense, die before they die. Because your day of reckoning shall come. And unfortunately, for you people that have been living like psychopaths, in your psychopathic mindsets, riding above everybody in your private jets and committing your crimes, then, you know, there's no avoiding your conscience when you've left this physical realm. That's it, your conscience is there, and it will testify against you. You see, it isn't God, the universe, that judges people. We judge ourselves, because once you leave this body, there's no escaping the truth. There's no escaping reality. You see. And once you've lived outside of that, then you're not really of a reality. You're just a pure fiction. So, you know, it's like, look, time, the universe gave us time. Forgive them, Father, they didn't know what they do. Yeah, centuries ago, people didn't really know what they were doing. People did really believe that women were inferior, and, you know, native peoples were inferior. People did really believe those things. But today, there are no excuses, not anywhere in this world is there any excuse for anybody to be able to say, in any true credibility, unless they've got a serious mental illness, that actually, no, you know, dark-skinned people are inferior, women are inferior, children are actually inferior, they're minor human beings. That anybody can actually say that in this world today, there's something really wrong with you. And as I say, you will be sorry. Because there is no escape. There is no escape from reality. You're in this physical body for a short time. You leave the physical body, your quantum energy, your spirit, that is your mind. If you're not with your soul, if you're not with compassion, if you've lived outside the law, there's no place for you in this universe. Bang, gone. A consciousness without a light. Left forever in the void. That's your own choice. You're making that choice as you rich people are making that choice as you leave these people in the void with no resource, nowhere to live, no money to feed the children, no money for healthcare. You make them feel like aliens on a planet that is there to provide for them, because everybody has their universal rights, and that is a right to healthcare, education, a home, dignity, respect, law, defence, protection, all the things that a human society, a human community gave to people before you big corporations came along, started taking over their lands, helping yourself to their resources, leaving them with nothing. It's theft. That's what it is. It is theft. You will pay. You will pay. If not in this life, you will pay when you leave. Because you will have to face that. And I just feel sorry for you, a lot of you, because you've actually got no idea what a conscience is. But I tell you, it'll hit bad. It will hit bad. Your plan of this cull of humanity, again, goes exactly against universal law. Universal law is abundance in compassion. So, go forth and multiply, people. You give women their rights, children their rights, you give people nice lives, you're never going to have huge population explosions. There is absolutely no way, no reason why the people of Bolivia need to be living in poverty. No reason whatsoever, apart from evil, cruel economics that are terrorism. That's what it amounts to, terrorism. People left insecure, worrying about each other's health, worrying about their children's education, children open to abuse and trafficking. Poverty has created a massive child abuse industry. And then we've got prohibition against drugs. Again, a criminal act to turn around and tell the public that no, you can't use these natural substances. They're illegal. Knowing full well that they're highly addictive, and as soon as you do that, there's going to be unscrupulous characters want to get rich who will take the risk to sell the drugs at extortionately high prices and get as many people. There's an incentive there to get as many people addicted to them as they possibly can. And it just so happens that people living in poverty, especially people who've suffered abuse, as is rampant in poverty, are actually going to fall victim to needing those drugs and become addicted to them, and then be encouraged themselves to commit crimes in order to get the drugs. I mean, seriously, you are a set of fucking evil bastards. That's what you are. Now, people might think, oh, it's very unholy of somebody who claims to have witnessed universal light being to be using language like that. No, actually, I will use language like that because that is what you are. There is no nice way of telling you what you are. That's your language. I'm speaking to you in your language. You are a set of evil fucking bastards. There's no nice way to say it. There's no polite way to say it, because you're not polite. You're evil. You will kill. You will watch these people starve to death while you have your big banquets. You see, there's no nice way to say it. I'm not here to be nice. I'm here to share reality. And the reality is that you rich people of this world who are clinging to this corporate capitalism and its new world order, you are a set of evil fucking bastards. Because that's what you do. You fuck, you see. You don't make love with life. You fuck life. You fuck a profit out of it. But when there is no need for that kind of savagery, if you treat life nicely and kindly and with respect and behave in a dignified manner and live with balance and reason and care and compassion and sense and sanity, there's no need for fucking. There's no need for living, with massive security around you all the time. You don't have to worry about, how much your health care is going to cost. Now, you see, bad language to me, what I would call a blasphemy, on what this universe actually calls a blasphemy, is the legal term minor against a child. That's a blasphemy, you see. economic policy, austerity as an economic policy, that is a blasphemy. It is, you see. So, me calling you evil fucking bastards, that's not a blasphemy, that's just a matter of fact. That's just a matter of fact. Now, you know, today I witnessed a video of a guy in some, was it a BBC Question Time audience or something? Apparently he was on 80k plus a year, and he's very worried that he's going to be having to pay 5% more tax, which amounts to something like £10 a month extra tax. Right. A guy on 80k a year. I mean, I'm on what? I'm on about 15k a year as a carer. So, you know, somebody like me will spend a £5 a week on putting stuff in a food bank trolley in the local supermarket. A £5 a week. So therefore, I'm prepared to spend, out of my 15 grand a year, 15k a year, I'm prepared to give a £5 a week and more to other little charities that I support. Okay, I'm prepared to give a £5 a week, £20 a month to keep a food bank going. But these rich people on 80k a year begrudge paying an extra tenner a month to help create the kind of society where people like me aren't living on a minimum wage and actually don't have to put £5 a week in a food bank. But I am not the one on BBC Question Time going crazy and mad that, oh, I'm having to pay £5 a week to a food bank. What I'm going crazy and mad about is the very fact that people are being forced to use food banks, and especially nurses. It absolutely enrages me, and I have to live with that level of rage and find ways to calm myself down, which one of the ways is making my videos, and, you know, because I just don't know what else to do. And with my experiences, I do have a responsibility to the universe, to serve the universe, and to share the light that I've witnessed. Now, as I say, people can tell me, oh, you know, you're mad, you're this, you're that. I don't care. I know what I witnessed. I know that it wasn't mad. I know that it was real. And I'm sharing the information, not to be nasty to you rich people, say, oh, you know, I'm actually offering salvation. There is salvation there. There are opportunities in every nation for you rich people to use your wealth to turn this around and to take Norway's example and help every nation set up its own sovereign wealth fund. So we never have this situation again. And we need to demolish the banking system presently run by this so-called Zionist cabal, because that's what they are. And they're not Zionists. True Zionists are Rastafarian. Go and look at Rastafarians. Rastafarians are not the kind of people that would invade Palestine and do any of the things that they're doing in the name of Zion. It's absolutely outrageous. There's things happening in this world that the governments, you rich people, have established and buy. And, you know, it does spell destruction for our planet. We have got 10 years, if that, to turn things around. You're going to have to do it, because otherwise you've got nothing. You die with your billions in the bank. And that's it. We are talking extinction as a species. Why? Why are you such wasters? Why are these people being wasted here? Why have their president been removed? You know, they're saying, oh, but you know, he should have only served two terms. He should have stood down after a term, and he had a referendum to let him have an extra term. But you know, he lost the referendum. But as he explained, the referendum was lies were told. Oh, what a surprise, we've just witnessed it here. We've seen it happen we've seen it with the Brazil election, with the Trump election. Lies, 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 corporate lies, threats, all kinds of things going on. This limit of 3 terms for presidencies or premierships, it does really need to go, because if the people are happy with a particular leader, then that leader should be able to stay as long as the people are voting for him or her. If they're doing a good job, the people are happy, then why should they have to stand down? You see, these are the kind of games, the little blocks that these right-wing fascists slip in, because then they hope to get somebody new in that they can manipulate until eventually they water it down and you end up back with your rampant rape. Because that's what we're dealing with. That's what you billionaires are, rapists. You are rapists of life. That's how you get your money. Because it isn't just through hard work, you see. Because if hard work made everybody billionaires, these people would be fine, wouldn't they? Because these people are working very hard. The people of Britain are working very hard. We get that pretty ugly Patel there saying, you know, the British people are the laziest in the world, really. No, actually. It's people like her who are the laziest in the world. People like her who expect to get paid not just 10 quid an hour, but, you know, 100, 1,000 quid an hour. And the rest, 1,000 quid a minute, is what some people are earning. This just it's unsustainable and it can't go on, and it is evil. But like I say, you will have your day of reckoning. There will be a sign. Very soon there is going to be a sign, and you all better take heed, because you've been warned, and that's my duty. That's my job, to warn you. In sickness or in health, I will stand up and tell it like it is. And nobody can say, oh, you know, you weren't warned. You were warned. The fact that you're ignoring me, that this world ignores me, ignores the message of universal law of abundance and compassion, ignores the experience, you know. Perhaps if I came on and said I'd been abducted by aliens and had some story to give, you know, I'd have like 1 million views. So unfortunately the message isn't really getting out. I am being judged. The judgments against me are coming thick and fast, as they have done all of my life in this horrible, actually alien world. It's an alien world to me from the day that I was born. I was born into an abusive, dysfunctional family, and it has been an absolute horror to me to realise that actually my family was just a microcosm of an abusive, dysfunctional world, actually run by people whose prime interests really are mostly male and mostly about satisfying their dick. That's what it all comes down to. And that actually a lot of the people in power are there because they've abused children. I mean, that is just so disgusting. But that's what we're looking at with the Epstein stuff and the Mossad involvement. It is absolutely sickening. Because only that kind of mindset, people who would sadistically abuse children, because that's what child sexual abuse is, it's sadism. Damaging a child for nothing more than your own pleasure. To take pleasure from a child suffering. It's in paedophilia. It's sadism. It's sadism. The people that buy the images, they're sadists. They've got to be. It's not paedophilia. It's sadism. That somebody will buy pictures of abused children, children suffering abuse, for their pleasure, to enjoy as part of their pleasure, to sustain that market, to contribute to the demand. Filthy, filthy, disgusting, evil bastards. Evil fucking bastards. You see, that is what you are. If you don't want to be a filthy, disgusting, evil bastard, stop being one. Get human. Understand that you've been brainwashed from birth. You've been living in madness. You were born in madness. Now it's time to start making sense. Because if you don't, you're going to have no planet.